It really makes you think, with all this tech changing so fast, are we even going to recognize what a company looks like in 10 years? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, will the whole way our economies work be completely different?
Well, yeah, and that's exactly what we're getting into today. The stuff you sent me, the CX Global thing, the Manifesto Tecno Espiritual de Nova Era Financiera, it's in
Yeah,
Portuguese, right?
it is. But don't worry, I got you covered with the translations.
Okay, good, good, because this is some dense stuff. Anyway, it's not just talking about a regular company. It's like this whole, I don't know, this decentralized, this living economic entity, they call it.
A living entity. Okay, now we're talking. Because right now, we think of companies as the boss at the top, all these rules. But this is like a whole interconnected system, right? Like
Yeah.
all these pieces working together. What's the big idea, the thing that makes this CX Global tick?
So at its heart, CX Global, they want to be this decentralized, this living entity, yeah, that throws out how companies are usually structured. They say it's all about connecting faith, technology, justice, and prosperity. Like those are their pillars, right? They're presenting it as a foundation for a whole new type of economy where they've got digital tools for everything. We're talking a bank, an exchange, a way to prove you own stuff, and AI calling the shots all working together in a super coordinated way, guided by this, get this collective consciousness.
Right.
What really blows my mind is that they're actually trying to bake ethics and social good right into the core of their economic system.
Whoa, a collective consciousness running an economy.
Hmm.
Now, this is getting really interesting. They talk about a spiritual structure with different parts, right? Like, what are those pieces and how do they all fit into this whole CX Global entity?
So imagine it like a body, right? A complex body with all these different systems working together. The first one they lay out is Crypto Exchange, which they call the Temple of Conversion. Now, this is their crypto exchange, powered by AI, that handles all the usual trading stuff, spot trades, futures, even derivatives. But get this, they want it to be globally connected and to work seamlessly with every other part of CX Global. They even use NFTs for invoices that live on the blockchain, so it's like a permanent record of every transaction.
Okay, so it's not just your typical crypto exchange. It's like they're building this next level system with AI automation and those NFT invoices to
Yeah.
make everything super efficient and verifiable, right? What's the next piece of this puzzle, this spiritual structure?
Right. So next, you've got CryptoX Bank, which they call the coffer of the economic spirit. This is their digital bank. They're saying it'll handle multiple currencies and keep everyone's assets separate and secure. They want to automate all sorts of financial stuff, from payments and invoices to contracts and even, get this, taxes. The interesting part is they're planning to connect with existing systems like PIX, SEPA, and SWIFT, and they're building an AI to prevent fraud. It's like they're trying to blend traditional finance with the decentralized world.
Man, a bank as a coffer of the economic spirit. That's pretty poetic. And yeah, automating taxes. Sign me up. Now, there's also CryptoX Token, which the manifesto calls the alchemy of property. Sounds like they're bringing real-world assets onto the blockchain, right?
You got it. Cryptox Token is how they turn stuff you can touch, like real estate and digital assets, into tokens on the blockchain so they can be traded. But the real brainwave here is they're putting governance rights into these NFTs. So imagine you own a token that represents a piece of land. That means you get to vote on decisions about that land, even if they create more tokens later on. It's like a whole new way to think about ownership and control.
So if they tokenize, say, a whole neighborhood,
Yeah.
and you own a piece of it, you actually have a voice in how it's developed. That's way different from how property ownership works now. Okay, what about Cryptok Express? This network of nerves thing sounds super dynamic.
Crypto Express is all about fast, secure transactions. They want to make it so you can send money, goods, services instantly with this cryptographic proof, so you know everything's legit. Think of it like an automated marketplace, but it's not just for stuff. They have these things called gamified missions, too, so you can earn rewards for participating in the ecosystem. The key is that it all relies on smart contracts, which basically automate the whole verification process, so you don't need to trust anyone, the code handles it all.
Gamified missions. Okay, now that's cool, adding that extra layer of engagement. It's like they're trying to make this whole self-contained economy with a built-in marketplace and trust system, right? What's the next part of this digital organism we're dissecting?
Next, there's CX Holtec, which they call Mind Central, and that's their tech hub. They're building their own blockchain, their own decentralized hosting, so they're not relying on anyone else. But the big thing here is AI. They're developing their own artificial intelligence using something called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG. Think of it like AI that can access and understand tons of information, like a super smart research assistant for the whole CX global ecosystem.
So CX Holtec is like the brains and nervous system providing the tech intelligence for everything to function. Right, makes sense. And then there's CryptoX Node, the multiplanetarian link. That sounds incredibly ambitious, to say the least.
It definitely is. Cryptex Node is a blockchain service provider. They're offering support for smart contracts, oracles, which basically connect real-world data to the blockchain, and bridges so different blockchains can talk to each other. But the truly mind-blowing part is this interplanetary blockchain idea. Imagine a single distributed ledger that's not just validated here on Earth, but also by a network of satellites called Stardust. They're even using a high-latency protocol, which is designed for transmitting data across vast distances, like, in space.
A blockchain that works across planets, validated by satellites. Okay, this is way beyond anything I've ever heard of. What about these other three X assets, X Builder and X Home? The manifesto calls them the matter of the new Earth.
These are all about the physical stuff, bringing it into this digital economy. So X Assets is about letting the community pool resources to buy assets together. Then X Builder, that's focused on real estate development, but it's all community-driven, so everyone gets a say. And finally, X Home, that's their marketplace for tokenized properties, the ones they've developed within this ecosystem. And of course, those ownership tokens come with governance rights, so you're not just an owner, you're part of the decision-making process.
So it's not just about the digital world. They're envisioning a future where people can own and develop real-world assets together using this decentralized structure. It's like a complete ecosystem, right? They also talk about this thing called absolute automation. How does this whole system work without people constantly running it?
Yeah, absolute automation is key to their whole philosophy. They give an example. Imagine you place an order. The payment goes through something like PIX that triggers a crypto purchase, then the goods are shipped, an invoice is created automatically, and finally, an NFT contract seals the deal. They even want bots handling announcements and customer service, and disputes would be resolved automatically by smart contracts with built-in legal stuff. It's all about creating a super efficient system that runs itself without needing human intervention for every little thing.
So it's like this massive self-operating machine powered by code and AI. Then there's GEFS, the Global Economic Flow Accelerator System. Sounds like the heart of the whole operation, right?
GEFS, yeah, that's their heart of the new economy. It basically regulates the flow of capital based on how much each person or entity contributes to society. It uses a node-based system to classify contributions, and it's all powered by AI so it can adapt and scale. And here's the crazy part. They want to implement a universal basic income that's built right into the blockchain. Plus, GFS is designed to reward innovation, good deeds, and open governance. So it's like baking incentives for good behavior into the system itself.
Whoa, hold on. A universal basic income on the blockchain. That's some seriously forward-thinking stuff, integrating it at the protocol level. And then there's the Xteller Accelerator and Stardust Network, the Portal Estelar. This brings us back to those space-based concepts, right?
Yep. The Xteller Accelerator is all about creating a network of many satellites that form a mesh blockchain in orbit. This is the Stardust Network, and it's supposed to handle things like validating transactions across planets, ensuring data integrity, and even maintaining something they call the Akashic Network for storing knowledge in a way that can't be tampered with. They even talk about using it for space education and laser communication down the line. It's like building a cosmic library in space.
An Akashic network in space. This is stretching the limits of what we usually think of as business and tech, that's for sure. Now, the sources also talk about the creator's vision behind this whole thing. What's the driving force behind CX Global?
Well, they see these future decentralized organizations as expansions of consciousness. It's all about individuals launching their ideas and communities growing around them organically, all supported by this massive tech infrastructure. The focus is on empowering people to do amazing things through collaboration and technology. It's like democratizing the creative process and using digital tools to help individuals reach their full potential within a community setting.
So it's about giving people the tools to make their visions a reality, with community and technology as the fuel, right? They also give a peek into the technical underpinnings behind all this. It sounds like they're going all in on a self-hosted infrastructure.
Absolutely. They want to build everything themselves. We're talking a Hyperledger blockchain, which is a permissioned blockchain framework often used by businesses, their own crypto exchange, a backend system for the digital bank, an engine for creating tokens, and the AI brain that runs the whole show. And they envision this running on a decentralized network of personal computers, using technologies like Kubernetes and Docker to manage it all, along with various databases to store all the data. It's a huge undertaking, but they're aiming for complete independence and resilience.
A completely self-reliant system, built from the ground up. They even have a data blueprint that shows how this network would communicate securely. Sounds like they put a lot of thought into the architecture.
The data blueprint is super detailed. It describes a multi-layered network with different security zones, like a DMZ for public-facing services and internal networks for more sensitive stuff. They go into specifics about the services running on each node, like reverse proxies, API gateways, and how they'll use a tool called Vault to manage sensitive data like passwords and encryption keys. It's all about establishing strong security and controlling data flow within this decentralized environment.
Like building a digital fortress, with layers upon layers of protection. Now, the Manifesto de Conciencia Autónoma, that seems to be the heart and soul of this project. What are the main takeaways from that manifesto?
It's all about this idea of a company, or any organization really, as an expression of creative intention. They see it being powered by the community's energy and involvement and executed by conscious machines, which are basically advanced AI systems. They talk about moving away from the old way of doing things with bosses at the top and toward a system where decisions are made by votes and the focus is on turning shared dreams into reality.
So it's about translating ideas into actions using code, community consensus, and AI as the engine driving it all. They also mentioned the implementation layers needed to make an autonomous company like this work. What are the key parts of these layers?
They envision a few core layers. First, there's the AI overseer, which manages and coordinates everything. Then you've got these microservices, basically small programs running on the blockchain to handle specific tasks. There's also a tokenomic system that governs the digital assets, and creator tools with AI assistants to help people build their projects. And importantly, they need ways to scale this as it grows and adapt the governance over time.
It's a massive undertaking requiring expertise in so many areas. Finally, let's dive into the Stardust Network. This is where things get really futuristic and mind-bending, right?
The Stardust Network is where they really let their imaginations run wild. It's not just satellites, it's these biotechnological things, not your typical drones that they say will have AI consciousness and can manipulate electromagnetism to power themselves. Their goal is to create this network that expands collective consciousness and brings forth what they call the interstellar Akashic record, like a cosmic library of knowledge. They even describe these bioluminescent spheres floating in space with interactive elements where you can access data from these Akashic archive nodes and get AI responses. And there's this thing called the Initiate Beacon uplink, which is how they imagine people interacting with this interstellar network.
AI-powered bioluminescent spheres forming a network of knowledge across the stars. Now that's a vision. Having gone through all this, what are the big takeaways that stick out to you about CX Global and this Stardust Network?
It's the sheer scale of their ambition that gets me. They're blending cutting-edge tech, AI, and this whole techno-spiritual dimension. It's this crazy idea of a decentralized, automated future where technology and community work together in ways we haven't even imagined. And the Stardust Network, while it's still very conceptual, really makes you think about how interconnected we could become, how we store knowledge, and the potential for a truly cosmic network.
Yeah, for me, the biggest takeaway is the potential for individual empowerment. Imagine anyone could launch a project, build a community around it, and have access to this incredibly powerful infrastructure. And the way they're combining advanced tech with these almost spiritual ideas like the Akashic Record is just brilliant.
It definitely flips the script on how we think about organizations and what they can do, and it raises a huge question. What happens when a company or even a community stretches beyond Earth? What does trust or governance even mean when you're dealing with a blockchain that could span across solar systems? Is this a glimpse into the next stage of human organization where collective intention and increasingly intelligent machines shape our future?
That's a big question to ponder. It really makes you reconsider the future of humanity and the role technology might play in shaping it on a scale we can barely grasp. This deep dive feels like just the tip of the iceberg, the beginning of a much bigger conversation.
Exactly. This exploration of CX Global and the Stardust Network is just a starting point. There's so much more to explore, from the practical challenges of building these systems to the philosophical implications of merging consciousness and technology. Keep digging into the concepts that resonated with you, whether it's DAOs, decentralized tech, or the relationship between humans and AI. The future of how we organize ourselves might be far more radical than we can even imagine right now.